In the heart of the bustling city of Zephyr, an ancient clock tower loomed over the skyline. Its hands never moved, frozen in place at exactly 3:15. The locals avoided it, whispering stories of how it measured more than time. It measured fate. No one dared enter the tower, save for one person, Calla, a curious historian who refused to believe in superstitions. Her fascination with the tower had grown over the years, fueled by mysterious stories passed down through generations. They say the clock's hands move only for those who step inside, an old shopkeeper had told her. And when they do, it reveals your fate. Calla dismissed the tales as nonsense. Yet, on the eve of her 25th birthday, she stood at the base of the tower, her lantern flickering in the wind. The door was old but unlocked. As she pushed it open, the air inside was cool and still. Dust motes floated in the faint light streaming through cracked windows. Calla climbed the spiral staircase, each step creaking beneath her weight. At the top, she entered a room filled with gears and levers, all connected to the massive clock face. At the center of the room stood an ornate pedestal, and upon it rested a golden key. Inscribed on the pedestal were the words, "Turn the key and see your path." Curiosity overwhelmed her fear. Calla hesitated only a moment before picking up the key and inserting it into the clock's mechanism. As the key turned, the frozen hands of the clock began to move. The room filled with the rhythmic ticking of the clock, a sound that grew louder with each passing second. The gears turned smoothly, and a soft golden light emanated from the clock face. Calla stepped back, shielding her eyes as the light grew brighter. When it faded, she found herself standing in an unfamiliar place. It was a vast hall, its walls lined with endless threads suspended in the air. Each thread glowed faintly, weaving together to form an intricate tapestry that seemed to pulse with life. "What is this?" she whispered. "This," a voice answered, "is the Loom of Fate." Calla spun around to see an elderly woman draped in robes of shimmering silver. Her eyes were piercing, and her presence commanded attention. "Who are you?" Calla asked. "I am the keeper of the loom," the woman said. "You have turned the key and entered the realm where destinies are woven." Calla's gaze returned to the threads. "Are these lives?" The keeper nodded. "Every thread represents a life, its length and color determined by the choices made and the challenges faced." Calla's heart raced. "And mine?" The keeper gestured, and a single thread detached from the tapestry. It floated toward Calla, its vibrant gold flickering with hints of deep crimson. "This is yours," the keeper said. "A life full of potential, but one shadowed by a pivotal choice." "What choice?" Calla asked, her voice trembling. "That is for you to discover," the keeper replied. The golden thread began to unravel, revealing glimpses of Calla's life, her past, present, and possible futures. She saw herself as a child, running through fields with her younger brother. She saw her current self, poring over books in her study, chasing mysteries. But the images of her future were fragmented and unclear. "What does it mean?" she asked. "The future is not fixed," the keeper said. "It is shaped by the choices you make and the paths you take." The thread began to shift, showing a fork in the path. On one side, Calla stood as a celebrated historian, her discoveries changing the world. On the other, she stood alone in the clock tower, her expression weary and broken. "Why are these so different?" Calla asked, fear creeping into her voice. "Because one path requires sacrifice," the keeper said. "The other, avoidance." Calla's mind swirled with questions, but before she could ask more, the thread snapped back into the tapestry. "You must return now," the keeper said. "Your fate awaits." Calla found herself back in the clock tower, the ticking now eerily silent. The golden key was still in her hand, its surface warm to the touch. She descended the staircase, her thoughts heavy with the visions she had seen. Outside, the city bustled as if nothing had changed, but for Calla, everything felt different. In the days that followed, she became consumed by the idea of the pivotal choice. What sacrifice would she have to make? And what path would she take? the answer came sooner than she expected. One evening, while researching in her study, she discovered a hidden journal written by a previous keeper of the loom. It detailed the existence of a second key, one that could alter not just her fate, but the fates of others. But the journal also warned of the consequences. Altering a thread could unravel the entire tapestry, throwing the world into chaos. Calla was faced with a decision. She could leave the second key hidden, preserving the balance of fate, or she could find it and reshape destiny itself. Calla stood once again in the clock tower, the journal in one hand and the golden key in the other. The moonlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the mechanism that controlled the clock. She knew the risks. To seek the second key was to gamble with forces she barely understood. But to walk away meant leaving the mystery unsolved and perhaps missing the chance to make a difference. As she turned the golden key once more, the clock's hands began to spin rapidly. The gears groaned, and the room filled with a blinding light. When the light faded, Calla found herself in the Loom of Fate once more. The keeper stood before her, her expression somber. "You have chosen," the keeper said, "and now you must bear the weight of that choice." Calla approached the tapestry, her heart pounding. There, in the center, was the second key, its surface glowing faintly. Taking a deep breath, she reached for it. The moment her fingers touched the key, the threads of the tapestry began to shift, their glow intensifying. Calla felt the weight of countless lives pressing upon her, their fates intertwined with her own. She knew there would be no turning back. Years later, the people of Zephyr would speak of the woman who disappeared into the clock tower, never to be seen again. They would say that, on certain nights, the clock's hands moved, and the air hummed with an ancient energy. And in the Loom of Fate, Calla stood as its new keeper, ensuring that every thread remained strong, every choice meaningful, and every life connected to the intricate web of time.